All right, hello everybody. Welcome to a discussion about map making and cover design. I am sitting here today with my very own map maker and cover designer who has worked with me on the Edan Trilogy. He also has some very, I think, maps that people are going to be very excited to see. We're going to be talking about that, some fantasy maps from series that you know and love. And also, we're going to have a moment later where Jack is going to show us how the cover of Return to Edan, the third book in the Edan trilogy, was actually designed, the whole process. We're going to look at that a little bit closely. Also, by the way, we do have a video that I did with Jack earlier. If you missed it, it was all about the map design, how he came up with this beauty right here, how he worked that out. And it was a really fun process working with Jack on the map of Jormungand for my trilogy. I have nothing but praise and the highest of that for Jack's work. And I'm very excited because actually your work is something that people are going to be able to access if they care to. There are some maps that people, hey, map lovers, this is your opportunity, because some of these maps that Jack has done and is doing and will be doing will be on sale. So I'm going to let Jack Shepherd, also known as Tall Shepherd,
Yep.
it's your Twitter handle and all of that. I'm going to surprise you here. How,
Okay.
how tall are you, Jack?
About 6'3", 6'4".
Okay, that's tall.
Yeah.
That's tall.
I met Ryan Carhill the other week, and he was like, "Oh, I know why you're called Tall Shepherd now." And yeah, that's exactly
He's
why.
about the same height, right?
He is. Yeah, he's super tall as well. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool, cool. All right. So anyway, now that we know that important fact is out of the way, Jack, please tell us all about what we can get. What maps are you working on? What have you done? Which ones are available for people who want to buy some cool maps?
Yeah. So thanks for having me, Philip. It's really good to come and chat and just kind of talk about maps. And I'm always up for talking about maps and process and all that stuff. So yeah, I've recently started doing this kind of full time, taking advantage of kind of an opportunity, and that kind of I left my previous job and now I can I thought I'd give it a try. So
Wow. So you're
yeah,
doing this. This is your bread and butter map design, cover
yep,
design. You are following your dream. And it is specifically fantasy that you want to work
yeah.
with,
I
correct? Yeah.
Fantasy is my favorite, so
Okay.
that's kind of what I've been working in and around recently, and I've kind of been kind of successful, I think. So it's been really good, and
Great start, I
yeah,
would say. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, a certain trilogy that all came out this year. So thanks to you, Philip, for that. But yeah,
Well, I have to thank you because I love how these covers came out. And all credit to Kira Gregory, who did a wonderful job with the art. But I don't think that many people realize just how involved you were in the design and the image that everybody sees with these three covers that are just so, for me, striking and perfect and colorful. I like to show off the dragon.
the
And
dragon. Yeah, love the
yeah,
dragon.
and so yeah, I hope people will be interested to stick around for the part where you show us how you did the design. They might be surprised actually by how that actually happened. So
Yeah.
that's gonna be cool. But yeah, so back to the maps. That's important. So which ones can people get and where?
So at the moment, I have an Etsy store, which is etsy.com/shop/tall shepherd, which
Okay.
has my first law map, which was the first one that I did and the one that kind of got me into map making. And
That's how I've noticed you actually on Twitter.
yeah.
You had that first law map, which you did out of just passion, right?
Mhm.
For
Yep.
fantasy and maps and everything. And but there's a great story there because Joe Abercrombie noticed this map, and
Yes. Yeah.
this map is now going to appear or is appearing. That it's out now, right?
Yep. So I think I haven't my copy hasn't arrived yet, so I can't show it off, but I think it's in the post. So with Curious King did a very, very nice special edition of the blade itself. And
Oh boy.
uh Joe recommended my map to Anthony at Curious King, and he kind of reached out and we worked together a bit to get it to fit properly. And now there's like a fold out version of my map in a blade itself special edition, which I didn't expect. Kind of
Wow.
going
This
into this, that
this
it would.
this is so
Yeah,
cool because, and I've said it on Twitter once, I think, as well, but and I complained in my why First Law is among the best of fantasy videos. One of the first videos I made. I said, this is one of the best trilogies ever. I love everything
yeah,
First Law, but I have one little complaint. It's no map, you know? And so
yeah,
now I feel like you have rectified my one little quibble with the wonderful First Law series. So that is so
yeah.
awesome that your map is appearing in that special edition. And they'll be following up with the second and the third books in the
Yep.
first trilogy. Yeah.
So all three of the First Law trilogy will be done over the next few years, and yeah, and I think my map will be in all of them. So which will be
Wow.
pretty cool. I can't wait to get my hands on it. I saw some people on Twitter kind of showing it off, and yeah, I'm very happy. It looks really really good. Anthony's done an amazing job at making a proper premium looking special edition.
Wow, that's the Curious King special edition
Yep.
of the blade itself, which is now arriving at people's homes, people who ordered it. Wow, that is so cool. So that map that we're talking about that is appearing in the First Law Trilogy Special Edition, Curious King, is available from you now from
Yep.
your Etsy website.
So on my Etsy, there's you can get it in either A3 or A4, and along with that, you can get my map from Phillips Trilogy, which there we go. Oh, there we go. Show off our maps. There we go. There it is. Properly kind of printed on really nice art paper. I print it all here and kind of pack it and ship it out. And yeah, it's been really fun actually, kind of
Cool.
sending them out to people and yeah, actually being able to produce them myself now. I invested in a nice printer, an art printer, and yeah, so it's been good. So at the moment, First Law and Yorman Lond are on
Oh, but
the
there's one very exciting one I think that's going to be available soon. And you can talk about this publicly because it has been announced.
Yes.
People
So
are going to go nuts for this one, I'm sure.
so I'm working with Ryan Carhill on a map of Etheria from the Bound and the Broken, and
Wow.
he's shown that off briefly on Twitter, but it's not been properly revealed yet. And there's some extra little bits and bobs that I've worked on top of it. So hopefully that will be revealed soon. And yeah, I'm very very happy with it. So I hope everybody loves it, and yeah, we'll see when that comes out.
I'm sure everybody's going to love it. So that is very exciting. And I know there are other commissions that you cannot talk about publicly yet,
Yep.
but there are a couple others that I'm excited about personally, perhaps down the pipeline, correct?
Yes. I've spoken to a few authors, a lot of self-published authors, which has been really, really great to kind of find out more about the self-published fantasy, which is some of the best fantasy being published at the moment, definitely. And yeah, I can't talk about some of them yet, but when I can, they'll be up on my Twitter and kind of tweeted and shouted about and all that stuff.
Good. Wow. Yeah, and I'll have all of your contact stuff, your Twitter and the Etsy store and your website and all that stuff in the description so people can find you easily. Very, very exciting stuff. So, wow. Anything else that people can get from, or do you have plans for in the future in terms of what you might be selling and that people can order and get?
Yeah, so I'm kind of looking into things like bookmarks and stickers and just kind of small stationery bits like that because I love that kind of stuff anyway, and I think that would be handy. And maps on, but I love my maps on bookmarks anyway because I go through
Yeah.
loads of bookmarks, so that would be good, I think. But that's kind of all just kind of plans and things I'm figuring out at the moment. But hopefully down the line, I just want to expand the Etsy, to be honest, and just kind of put more stuff on there. I'm thinking of maps like Song of Ice and Fire and Middle Earth, the big classic ones. I'd love to do my spin on those and pop them up on my Etsy, but we'll see.
Wow. Okay, very cool. Very exciting stuff.
Yes.
So bookmarks with maps, I think those would do very well, I suspect. Yeah. Very cool. Awesome. So, and cover design is the other thing that you do, obviously.
Yeah.
So you are available for commissions for cover design, and I must say
Yes.
I'm extremely happy with the way
Thank
that
you.
mine went. And we're going to take a peek behind the curtain at how you produced the cover specifically for Return to Edan. A lot of people love the coloring here on this one and the stained glass effect. So we're going to go into detail now. Once again, Kira Gregory is the artist who did the original the art, but then you did your magic on it and
Yes.
made it into this cover. So let's go through that process if you don't mind.
Yeah. So just a bit of kind of background on design and cover design and things. I'm a graphic designer. I went to university for graphic design and kind of worked as a designer for a couple of years. And that's the kind of main thing I've been doing for kind of I wanted to do graphic design as long as I kind of remember. And then obviously doing the maps, kind of it was kind of a natural step to try out cover design, and being given the art from Kira was amazing because she had, or they'd, sorry, they had worked on the kind of the colors, the shapes, and what we discussed doing the stained glass idea, and I think hopefully that kind of came through in all three covers, and yeah,
Oh, I
definitely
should
very
say
happy with them.
so. Yeah. Now I get to claim a tiny bit of credit in this whole process, and which is that I came up with the stained glass window idea early on when we were doing the Way of Edan, and Kira was sort of going back and forth on different designs and stuff, and then finally I just thought, you know what if we did stained glass window? What if we made this into, we just go for it with the thick lines and we make it into like a stained glass window. And I showed them some images of Edward Burne-Jones stained glass windows designed by Edward Burne-Jones. We kind of like leaned into that a little bit. Edward Burne-Jones being the 19th century artist associated with the later pre-Raphaelites, friends with William Morris, whose company Burne-Jones actually designed the windows for, and they installed these. You can find these windows still in churches and various places, museums, and so on and so forth. So I thought let's go for it because there is, of course, a religious theme. Religion is central to the Edan Trilogy. So it seemed like a fitting thing to have the stained glass windows and roll with that. So that's what we did. We leaned into that. And Kira did all of the initial images. And people might be curious to see what all that looks like as that gradually goes into the what becomes the cover with that I must say looks remarkably like a stained glass window. I want to actually, if I ever get rich enough, I want to have a house where I can put these stained glass windows in my house.
That's a really cool idea. That would be amazing. Yeah.
I mean, don't hold your breath for it, but you can always dream, right? So,
Yeah.
so are you ready to put up some images and show us how this whole process works?
Yes. So I will grab. Let me just make sure I've got the right one open. Sorry, 1 second.
Oh yeah, I know how it's always fun to share.
Yeah.
There we go.
Make sure I've got the right thing over there. We go. So
so what have we got here?
yeah, so this is Kira's original artwork, the flat artwork that we were given to work with. So kind of all three in the trilogy kind of came to us like this, and so they've kind of chosen the colors and the shading and stuff, and it looks fantastic. And then
Kira's got a real gift when it comes to color, don't they?
Yeah, it really is great, and it already has that kind of stained glass feel. And where I come in is kind of adding texture and building that texture up into something that looks a little bit more like a realistic kind of stained glass window. So
it looks more glassy, I guess.
Yeah. So, went ahead. There we go. So first, I am kind of looking at stained glass. You get these strange. I don't really know what they are, but kind of this kind of artifacting around the edges of each pane.
I wish we had John Mauro here because he would be able to tell us what those little dots are called. I'm sure.
Yeah,
the glass.
I have no idea.
Yeah,
I kind of looked at a lot of stained glass and picked out the kind of visual elements and how to how to build that into a pre-existing piece of artwork.
Okay. Now,
So
is there just like a pure computer program that you can put this image into and press a button and presto, or is this a more tedious process?
I wish. So I use Photoshop, which is which kind of is what I always use for design anyway, and it involves building up layers of kind of textures and photographs. So if I just back out of that a second, I have a folder full of the textures that I used
Oh, cool.
specifically. So as we go through, you'll see I've used things like this, and you kind of
Oh, I know where you
change,
do that. Yeah.
yeah, change qualities of the image using different layer styles and things like that. It's you'll see this texture comes up later uh in the little presentation that I've got here. So
Marvelous. This is so cool. I did not know all of this went into this. So this is so cool.
yeah, so if we go back to here and full screen it, and go on to the next one, there's some color adjustments that I did. So when you put the
Yeah.
textures on, it can alter the colors a little bit. And so I want to bring out the elements that need to stand out the most. So the face of the character, the fire, and then the stars need some. I've added some kind of a glow to add a bit of a
Yes,
gradient
you
to them.
have. Can you click back and so we can compare
Yep.
those? That's so cool.
Yeah. So obviously adding this kind of the texture here darkens the image a little bit from the
Yeah.
original, and so I try and bring that back up with specific light.
Oh,
Um,
that's so cool. Wow.
and
Can you go all the way back to the
yeah,
first original? I'm sorry.
so there's the original. It's
There's the
okay.
original.
It's good to kind of go into it in depth actually.
Good, good.
Um,
Okay. And then second stage, you put the glassy kind of effect, but now you need to highlight some areas. So third
yeah,
stage.
so that kind of
So
adds a bit
cool.
more of a warm glow. And also at this stage, I have gone into the kind of the black outline and added a sort of 3D effect, because with the stained glass, the channels, or the kind of I guess it's metal in the channels between each panel
Yeah.
always has a slight kind of raised texture. So I've done that throughout just to give it a little bit more of a so it stands out, pops out a little bit more.
Oh, it's brilliant. Wow. Huh.
And then I think the next one is so this is kind of the main thing I was doing, which is um, the type, the kind of formatting of the text and everything on top. So I've just put it on a black background here, but when putting it together, I will always do it on top of the artwork, which you'll see later on. But
And I want to pause for a moment and acknowledge
yeah,
that you are the one who came up with this entire design. But one of the little touches that I love that you came up with was the raven on the spine and on the
yeah,
back. That was totally your idea, and I loved it. And people who have read the books know how appropriate that raven is.
yeah.
So that was just a lovely touch, I
That
thought.
was a great kind of one of those elements of chance. I just found an image. I was playing with different kind of icons and visuals, and I think this was taken from an old image from the British Library Archive, which has a huge archive of public domain imagery from a lot of Victorian or even going up back older than that. And I love pulling from that and kind of updating the symbols and things. And this raven was from that. And then you mentioned how important it was to the story, and it just kind of worked pretty well, I think. So
Oh, it's so brilliant. Love it. Love it.
yeah,
Excellent. I also like how you changed the color on the back page description for each of the three books. The last bit is in yellow, and it is slightly a different kind of bit of text each time as well. It's sort of a
yeah.
summary, that's a nice little way to highlight that. So nice touch there you came up with as well. Lovely.
I think it adds kind of a bit more impact at the end, and because that last paragraph is kind of summing it all up in the piece of text you provided each time, I think kind of, yeah, it's fun to change it, give it a bit more emphasis.
Yeah, that worked out well too. Yeah, so a lot of, I mean, you're the designer. You came up with all of this stuff, and I must say, I love the font that you chose. It has a nice rough fitting also with the map that you came up with. I think that it meshes well with the style, kind of a nod to like a medieval type style, old print
Yeah,
style. Just very nice how all these elements come together to produce the overall effect.
I wanted it to be kind of um, traditional in some ways and have that kind of worn feeling, but then also be clear enough and kind of simple enough that it's just you can read it from however far back you are. It's that's why it's kind of it's white and it stands out like that. I haven't done any kind of texture on the type itself, other than the slight like roughness around the edge. It just kind of makes it legible and easy to read, and yeah, and that it changes slightly. That's the title is varied for each book. I've kind of positioned it in a slightly different way,
Yep.
and but hopefully kept the kind of the through line that goes through all three of them.
Yeah, no, I mean, a lot of people have told me, Jack, and that each of the books individually is beautiful, but with the three together, the overall effect is even greater than the sum of the parts. That there is a kind of a more, I guess, just having the three go to mesh together so well. So obviously you achieved that. You succeeded in that very nicely.
That was one of the first things I did when I received the advanced copy you sent me. I put all three together next to each other so I could just see them all together, which was very satisfying.
What do you think I did?
Yeah, I can imagine.
Nice, nice. All right.
Right.
Okay. So
So
what's next in this
I
process?
think this is the kind of the next step up of texture. So you see each panel now
Oh, the hills. Yeah, look at the
has
hills.
all the textures. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
where you can kind of see it the most. And you might be able to recognize that image I showed previously with the kind
Yeah.
of the triangular glass, and I think that makes it the kind of faceted glass makes it look a lot more like a kind of more rudimentary piece of stained glass, or kind of that just that sort of texture you would see when the light is behind it in a church or cathedral or wherever.
Most definitely, yes. Ah, it's marvelous.
And I think it also helps with that extra glow I added. You can see it kind of helps the texture as well, because it's not just even with the texture, it's not just a flat piece of color. It's got a bit of kind of gradation to it.
Yeah. Ah, I love
Yeah,
this. So
and
is
then
this is the final stage for the image itself before you
um,
text over it, or is
I
there more?
think so, yeah. And also you can see here, I've added like a kind of a black gradient here
Yeah.
because that's where the barcode will be going and where the kind of the cover artist credit will be going. And so
Yeah.
it can't be on anything too busy. And so and things like that have been changed. There's a bit more of a black color around here, and that just kind of keeps it matching the others in the series.
Yeah.
And then that's it with everything combined as the digital file.
Oh,
Yeah,
marvelous. Ah, look at that. That is something, I tell you. Yeah. That is really cool. And you gave it to us in roughly 4 stages, but I
yeah.
suspect that it was a lot more than four
It
as you
was
were working on it.
it
Am I correct?
it yeah, it was. There's a lot of I went through and simplified it just slightly, but
Just
the
slightly, just
yeah,
slightly.
you end up with a lot of layers. I think I probably had about 600 layers or so. It was a very large file and would
Wow.
slow my
Six.
computer down
So
quite
thank
a
you
lot.
for dumbing it down for us from 600 to four.
Yeah, I thought it would be a bit nicer. Just yeah, you can also see a lot of it that when I work on it is gradual changes, very slight changes. I might change it a little bit one way and then decide to go back, or kind of things like that. There's a lot of, and it's the same with the maps really. A lot of trial and error in a way until I kind of chipping away at it. Really, that's kind of probably the best metaphor. Just kind of keep working on it until you get something that works. With Return to Edan, I had the previous two covers that I'd worked on, and we'd kind of established how everything was going together with the first two, and then and so I could use the previous sort of format as a baseline, and then just build on that, kind of with the new imagery. And I did go back and kind of change the textures for each book in terms of like how much they show through, just because the colors of all the different books show the texture in different ways, and so you have to kind of dial it in for each one. But
wow. So in other words, don't try this at home, folks, because this is not this is not a 4-stage process. This is a 600-stage process.
it does take a while, but I love doing it. So it's just kind of being able to design for fantasy and for fantasy books specifically is just like a dream. Definitely, I've been reading fantasy for like as long as I can remember. So to be able to actually earn some money from doing it is fantastic.
That's so good to hear. Yeah, I'm so glad that you're able and willing to follow your dream. That's such an important thing, and a lot of times I think people are afraid to try. And
thank you, Philip.
I wish you the very best with this, and I would urge everybody watching this to go and support Jack. Go buy yourself some really cool maps, and here we are. You can find, and I'm going to put these in the description below as well, so you can just link right there. But here he is on Twitter at Tall Shepherd. And do you want to say anything about the other links there?
Yeah, Jack? So the link tree just has all of my links. You can just go to that one, and it'll give you my kind of Twitter, Instagram, all that, nice. Etsy shop and stuff. It's all kind of contained in one link. And then my Etsy for if you want a print or anything like that of Jormungand or First Law at the moment, but hopefully more coming soon. And and I wouldn't be able to do this without your support, Philip. So it really does mean a lot, and it's been fantastic working with you this year. And it really has been great.
Good. Well, I'm glad I wasn't too demanding of a customer.
Not at all. You're a perfect client, Philip.
That's good. Well, this has been so much fun talking with you. Almost as much fun as it was working with you. It's been a delight. And if you're an author out there and you're thinking, gee, I would love to have a good map designer or cover designer, I cannot recommend Jack highly enough. I had an extremely positive experience working with you, Jack. And, it's wonderful to work with someone who's so responsive and also just conscientious. And obviously you can tell from what we just saw that you put in some really great work.
Thank you.
Yeah, great stuff. All right.
Yes, read the Edan Trilogy. Everybody read the Edan Trilogy right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, most people who are watching this video are most likely have heard of it before. We hope. But thank you so much for this. Thank you everybody for watching, and until next time.